so I am on a Road Glide CVO. Woo! Son, I can already, oh my goodness. I mean, there is a big difference in as far how far away the fairing is from you, but I mean, do you really need to be touching on your fairing and on your navigation riding down the road? I mean, shouldn't you just be focused on riding down the road? Man, this thing gets up. I can already tell. I'm barely even getting out and moving, and this thing is trying to get up on me. Oh yeah, 117 is moving, baby. Oh, that's because I've been missing it right there every time. This Road Glide fairing right here, it does, it's same as the Street Glide. It's keeping everything off of me, all the wind off of me. No buffeting in my helmet. This one I'm going to take on the interstate, so we'll see what it feels like. I should have took the Street Glide on the interstate, but I kept missing this little turn, this road right here, because the sign's bent, and I wouldn't have noticed it had it not been for this bike in front of me. He's hauling. He must be doing like 70 or 80 miles an hour. Yeah, this is a lot better route than the route I've been taking, because I've been riding through freaking street traffic and red lights and stuff, and now I'm just kind of relaxing out here, seeing the beautiful scenery. Look, demo route right here. Jeez. Just to let you know you're still on the demo route. Yeah, I definitely missed that little sign that's bent over. All right, a little twisties right here, but you guys know me, safety first. I'm going to slow down a little bit. I'm not going to bust through the twisties on a bike I'm not very familiar on. Especially the back roads in Tennessee, man. This type of weather, the deer are just ready to run out and jump out in front of you. The engine braking on this bike is wow. I'm always blown away how on these big heavy bikes like this, and people are always worried about, oh man, this thing's so heavy. It's just such a balanced motorcycle. I mean, just the counter steering on this thing is unbelievable. I'm just barely pushing on the left or the right, and this thing just wants to go. I mean, it's like I could just look over in the direction I want it to go. It's going to go that way. Look at this, still on the demo route. Can't believe that I missed this little route every single time. How nice would it have been to take the Sportster down here? How nice would it have been to take the Street Glide down here? I tell you what, that's all right. I'll take the CVO Road Glide down here. I'm real curious to see how this front-facing helmet camera looks over the top of this fairing right here. I don't know, on the CVO Road Glide, it feels almost like, I've been on other Road Glides before, it feels like that the fairing sits up a little higher or a little further out or something. Something different. I'm not positive what it is, but it feels, I mean, I have zero problem seeing over it. I'm not looking through the shield or anything. My vision's not being impeded in any sort of way. I like this sound though when I get on it a little bit. All right, baby, let's see how this bike's going to perform on the interstate. All right, baby. This CVO on the interstate here a little bit. Oh yeah, it feels great. It's not even pushing me around or anything like that. I feel just a little bit on like my shoulder, but it's nothing that feels like it's want to push me off the bike like on a fairingless bike. Especially when I'm behind something like a 18-wheeler. When I'm on a fairingless bike like my fat boy, it's just pushing me all over the place in 10 or 15 different directions. This 117, it has plenty of power. It feels like you can get out of any kind of trouble if need be. See if downshift just a little bit there. Oh yeah. I just shifted into fourth. Feels good in fourth. Back into fifth. Feels great. It really does. This truck right here is all over the interstate in front of me. It just kind of goes to show you that there's a lot of wind, it seems like, through this area. Pushing that truck around, but it's not really pushing me around very much at all. Man, this feels absolutely fantastic. Again, I know I say this all the time every time I get on a touring bike, but I'll tell you guys, I truly understand that once you get behind a fairing like this, you can understand how people crush miles on these touring bikes, on these road glides, on these street glides. Man, I mean, you could just, whoa, we got some, what we got going on here? A lot of braking going on. I mean, you could just sit back and relax and ride this thing. Put it on cruise control, baby. This thing's got some power in this 117. I can do with a 117 in my life. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that much right now. All right, guys, so this is going to conclude my ride on the CVO Road Glide. I love it, dude. I mean, what an easy bike to ride. Absolutely easy bike to ride. Alright, so here's my breakdown of the Road Glide CVO. Here's the thing that I noticed right off the bat: the riding position. Great riding position. Where I was sitting, how my hands were stretched out. It felt really good. It felt really nice. It felt really comfortable. Again, that's a stock riding position on this Road Glide CVO, as well as the other bikes that I've ridden, and it kind of blows me away. Again, I'm 5'10", I've got long legs, a kind of a short upper torso, so it kind of blows me away that the Harley Davidson stock riding position can fit so many people. So the next thing I'll touch on will be the Road Glide CVO fairing. The fairing, it is a little bit further away than something like the Street Glide Special. I can lean forward and do what I need to do if I need to open one of the compartments, or if I need to touch the navigation and I decide not to use the little toggle switches. So from my riding position, all I had to do is just lean forward just a little bit. So not a big issue at all. It just seems when you sit down on it and you've been on a street glide, it seems like it's a lot further away. Once you make a small adjustment by leaning forward, it's not that big a deal, really and truly, at all. So staying with that Road Glide fairing, that Road Glide fairing kept all the wind buffeting off my head, off my helmet, off my chest. The only place I felt a little bit was right here on the shoulders, but it was not pushing, it was just the wind hitting. And I've heard people say that, oh, the holes, the two vents in the Road Glide fairing, they're distracting. It was not distracting to me at all. I have a really good friend that says that they are really distracting to him, and for whatever reason, it never bothered me. I never noticed it. I think sometimes that we can get something in our head and that can bother us, and then we just focus on it, and then all of a sudden we can't really focus on anything else. So that may be one of the things that was happening to him. I'm not real positive because, like I said, zero issue. I saw him, I looked down, I could see the road through, but it never once kept drawing my attention down to it. And if me bringing this up draws your attention to it, sorry. So the Road Glide, everybody looks at it and says, oh my gosh, it's a massive bike. It's so heavy. It looks so heavy. I don't think I could ride that thing. You know, I did those
Are You Too Short for a Bagger videos with Courtney. And there were so many people that in the comments that said, oh, she doesn't ride that around town. That was her daily rider. A Road Glide, and her Road Glide was a little bit older. I don't remember the exact year, but it was a few years older. And these new ones are so well, extremely balanced that it felt light. It did not feel like a heavy motorcycle, even coming to a stop. You know, I've had people tell me in the past, oh, it dips forward. You're using too much front brake. That's what's going on, because if you're applying the brakes like you're supposed to, and you're using that back brake, and then you're using the front brake with the back brake coming to a stop on the Road Glide, man, zero issues. Felt like an extremely light bike. Leaning and turning, counter steering on that bike, whoa, amazing. So I'd lean into a turn, and I never once felt like the bike got really heavy and felt like it was gonna fall over. When I would lean into a turn just a little bit and then I'd start really counter steering that motorcycle, very responsive. Very, very, very responsive. I mean, absolutely did exactly what I wanted it to do. So another thing that might be all in your head is, yes, we do know the bike weighs a lot. Does it feel like a heavy bike? Absolutely not. The Road Glide CVO, it does not feel like a heavy bike. So with the fairing, and I'm staying on that fairing because a lot of folks, they're kind of like, oh, that fairing is so big, it's so bulky, that shark nose. That fairing, I had zero issues. So let me explain this. When I have my Moto Vlogger set up, my camera is right here on my chin. So there's a significant difference from what you're seeing and what I'm seeing with my eyes. And the way it sits, it looks like that it might be in the way. It looked like on the Street Glide that it might have been in the way. On the Street Glide, the fairing not in the way at all. On this Road Glide that I demo rode, the Road Glide CVO fairing not in the way at all. I could completely see over the top of it at all times. I wasn't even looking through the little bitty, that one had a really small windshield on it. I was not even looking through the small windshield, and still I did not receive any buffeting from the wind blowing on my helmet. I could see right over that thing, not in the way. It just felt like I was relaxed and just sitting there because there wasn't any wind pushing me. Here's the only thing that I would see. I wouldn't even say that it's really a negative, because it didn't cause, and remember, I've been on a Road Glide before for 4 hours. So I knew going in that this might be an issue. The position where my hands are slightly turned. I'm gonna exaggerate this so you can see it. They're slightly turned out like this, but it's a real slight turn. I'm used to, on my Fat Boy, riding kind of barely slightly turned so it doesn't bother me. So the riding position for my wrist, the stock riding position for my wrist, was awkward feeling to me. And every now and then on a long ride I'd have to kind of do like this with my wrist. But on this ride I could tell that, let's just say I was 4 hours in, that I might have to give it a little shake every now and then. Again, this is a stock riding position. This is a stock riding handlebar for the masses. I would simply change out my bars to something with less angle on it. That's just one of those preferences that is easily corrected, and you cannot expect a motorcycle company to, when they're building bikes for the masses, to make it comfortable for every single person. And when they do make it comfortable for the majority, that's incredible. I mean, that blows my mind how their engineers have figured out how to say, okay, well, this person, maybe their arm's not as long from here to here, or they don't have as long as arms as this person over here, or their torso's not as long, it's shorter, and somehow, some way, they set up that Road Glide CVO, they set up all of their Harleys to be comfortable for the masses. The stock suspension, very soft. I know guys get Road Glides and the first thing they do is they change out their suspension and stuff. This is a suspension that you could tour on. This is a suspension you could jump on that bike and lay down some miles. I live in Tennessee. If I decided to shoot over to Texas, or if I decided to shoot down to Florida, easy, comfortable suspension. It would be great for me. I purposely went over railroad tracks a little fast. If I saw some potholes or some irregularities in the road, I purposely rode over that stuff on all of these bikes that I demoed, and the suspension was superb on all of them. You know, is there a better suspension out there? Absolutely. You know, people are always going to improve on something. But this suspension that comes stock on this Road Glide CVO, absolutely fantastic, zero problems. So in conclusion, my main takeaways: this bike is a very, very, very well balanced bike. This bike, this Road Glide CVO, it feels so light. People look at it all the time and say, oh my gosh, that's a big bike, that's a heavy bike. It feels extremely lighter than it looks riding it down the road. Always had control over the bike. The only thing I would do is either change or adjust the bars to fix that little awkward position for me. Again, that's an exaggeration of it, but it's somewhere right in here where something I'm not used to, but I would do something with that and adjust the bars. The stock 117 on this Road Glide CVO, I mean, roll on the throttle, instantaneous power. That bike was a lot of fun. I was getting on the interstate, I hit that throttle, and I could move and get myself in the position. You know how it is, you guys are getting on the interstate. Unfortunately, not everybody sees us. Big trucks, big cars, the 18-wheelers, they just don't always see us. So if someone's coming on the lane, I could look back, see where everything was at, and adjust my throttle accordingly, and that bike would take off so fast for a 117. I mean, that thing flat moves. Guys, I appreciate you watching my breakdown of this Road Glide CVO. If you don't know how I try to approach all of these breakdowns, the way I try to approach them is, you can go online and look at their website and see all the specs, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit there and read off the specs thing. I do have a little sheet that I read off of, but it's all of my own notes. You know, I try to go by feel, because that is one of the most important things on a motorcycle. When you get on a motorcycle, how does it feel? Is it comfortable? Is it comfortable sitting? Do you have to hunch over, and when you ride you can't lay down a bunch of miles because now your back's sore? Road Glide CVO, you could probably ride from here to the other end of the country, and from one side of the country to the other, and it would just feel great. One thing I didn't touch on, I'll throw this in there too, the stock Road Glide seat. Very soft, very comfortable. It puts you in a great position, a little bit of support on your back. So you don't even have to change out that seat, because it's an extremely comfortable seat. If you have not already, please hit that like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel and becoming a part of the OMG Nation. Thanks for watching, everyone. And remember, life doesn't make you happy, happiness makes your life.
Stall.
Oh, this is recorded, by the way. I didn't think it wasn't recorded.
Okay. Just checking.